Hey tea heads, this is Don from Mayleaf. In this video, getting to know Anji Bai Cha. In this video, I'm going to be revealing to you my love-hate relationship with this tea. We're going to scope it and we're going to taste it. This video is going to go onto the single tea tastings playlist. If at any point in time you enjoy this video, then please give the video the thumbs up. The more thumbs in the air, the more tea videos are going to come your way. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, then go click that button, that little button right in the corner just there. Right, it's 2016. This is our 2016 shipment of fresh Anji Bai Cha. So this video is going to be an unboxing of sorts. And in over 10 years of running a tea business, this is the first time that we're stocking Anji Bai Cha. And I'll give you the reason for that in a little bit. But before that, it's important to get to know the tea. And the way that we do that is by scoping the tea. So for those that don't know, scope stands for season, cultivar, origin, picking and processing, and elevation. The season for Anji Bai Cha has to be early spring. The earlier the better, ideally pre-Qingming, which is around the 2nd of April. So the last week of March, the first week of April, maybe moving into the second week of April. Anything later than that, and the leaf starts to develop too much polyphenol content, too much chlorophyll, and the flavor profile of Anji Bai Cha becomes compromised and it becomes second grade Anji Bai Cha. So very early pick is very important. The cultivar or varietal is from the Baiye Yihao white tea tree varietal. Let's quickly clear something up. This is a green tea. This is not a white tea. It's called Anji Bai Cha, and in Chinese, Bai means white. The reason why it's called Anji Bai Cha is because it comes from white tea tree varietals. White tea tree varietals are called that way because the young leaves, when they flush, they're a very pale, milky green color, almost white in color, and so they're called white tea tree varietals. Now, in the Song Dynasty, Emperor Huizong wrote a book about tea. He was a great lover of tea, and he wrote in his book that one of his favorite varietals was from the white tea tree varietals. There are white tea tree varietals existing in Fujian province, and there are ancient white tea varietals growing in Anji County in Zhejiang province. And all Anji Bai Cha that you purchase on the market today should be picked from plants that were grown from cuttings of those ancient white tea trees. And I think there's one or two of the ancient white tea trees still growing today that may be 300 years old or so. But all Anji Bai Cha should come from cuttings from those original varietals. Right. Oh, origin. Anji Bai Cha really should come from Anji County. It should come from one of the original Anji Bai Cha cultivations that started in the 80s. So in the 80s, they rediscovered these varietals and started to make cultivars from it. And there are some original Anji Bai Cha cultivated crops. So Anji County is where you should buy your Anji Bai Cha. P stands for picking and processing. This is a very fine pick tea, so a bud and one leaf, sometimes a bud and two leaves, but usually it's super fine picking. The processing for this tea is very simple. It's picked, it's withered very short period of time, maybe an hour or so, and then it's fried. And they fry it in a kind of mechanical machine that moves it back and forth, so it's not done with a rolling motion, and that's why it has this beautiful, very straight leaf shape where you can have a very straight bud and very straight leaf pointing to the air like a sword. It's very interesting shape, and that comes from the firing process. Finally, elevation. Elevation is about 850 meters, so not super high. In the area of Zhejiang, all the very high quality green teas are grown at around this elevation, 850 meters. Right, you've scoped the tea. Now let me tell you my issues with Anji Bai Cha. Anji Bai Cha is what I call a snob tea. What I mean by that is everybody in China, to show status, loves to present and serve Anji Bai Cha. And therefore, all the really good Anji Bai Cha, the proper grade A Anji Bai Cha, tends to be bought up at a ridiculously marked up price to these kind of very rich people in China that are purchasing this tea for status value. I'm not saying they don't love the tea. I'm sure they appreciate the tea just as much as anybody else, but they have the money to raise the prices so that the price of this tea, if it's a grade A tea, becomes ridiculously priced to the point where I refuse to buy it because I know that number one, our clients will not purchase tea at that price. And number two, I can't justify that extra price on it because of its snob value. However, I do love this tea. I adore this tea. And I've tasted many grades of this tea. And the top grades are amazing, but they are just ridiculously priced. Then you get second grade Anji Bai Cha. The Anji Bai Cha that looks very similar and is probably picked from Anji County, but might be picked a little bit later on in April, and it might not be picked from exactly the best plantations, and it's grade 2 Anji Bai Cha, and it's still very good tea, but the price is still quite high because of the fact that it's still called Anji Bai Cha. So the price is still artificially raised a little bit compared to the quality. And when you compare it to, say, a Huangshan Maofeng green tea or other green teas, I think that the top quality Huangshan Maofengs are very similar in flavor profile to a grade 2 Anji Bai Cha, and the price for those are much lower. So from my point of view, I think it's much better to buy tea that is the right price for the quality instead of spending extra just for the name. And for that reason, I have not purchased Anji Bai Cha in over 10 years. Despite me loving the tea, despite me enjoying these really high grade teas, every year I get sent samples or I go and visit Zhejiang and taste samples. And every year the same thing happens. I taste tea that I fall absolutely in love with, but it's ridiculously overpriced. Or I taste tea which I think is great and I would like to buy it, but really it's still too high a price when you compare it to other teas which are of a similar quality. So every year I refuse. And this year I spoke to one of the farmers in Zhejiang province and I said, listen, we've been dealing with each other for over 10 years. Every year you give me your Anji Bai Cha samples, and every year I refuse them, either because they're too expensive or because their quality is not high enough for the price. So help me out here. Let me get some of your top quality Anji Bai Cha, even if it's a small amount, and I'll still pay a high price, but I won't pay the snob value price that the Chinese rich are paying. And he agreed. I managed to procure 2 kilos only because it is precious stuff. I understand he's not going to do this for a larger amount of tea. So I've managed to purchase 2 kilos of it. This is 1 kilo, so this is a 1 kilo pack of tea. And this is my unboxing. So now I've just received it. I've tasted it, of course, and it was amazing. So now I'm hoping that this is going to be the same tea that I've tasted. Let me just crack this open, give it a smell. Okay, so far so good. It smells exactly like I would want it to smell. Let me start to get a little bit of this tea out and then we'll come back and we'll start our tasting. This is second grade or lower grade Anji Bai Cha, which is still being sold at quite a high price and is commonly found on the international market. You can see that the picking is pretty good. It's a bud in a leaf, but the colors are very muted, very muddy. You're getting yellows and greens, but they're very dark. They don't have much life to them. And I think that this tea sample was picked too late. This was something that was picked probably end of April, beginning of May. All right, you ready to see our freshly unboxed Anji Bai Cha? Ta-da! Okay, so this is a completely different look to it. Again, it's a bud and 1 leaf, or a bud and 2 leaves. You can see that here, bud and leaf, bud and 2 leaves. And the color on it is so much more vibrant. Let me try and bring it a bit closer to the camera and you can compare the two. So this one is so much more vibrant. Lime greens, you're getting this lime yellow green leaf with the darker green variations. So you can see the difference between second grade Anji Bai Cha and top quality Anji Bai Cha. this is what you want to be looking for. Unfortunately, that usually means that the price is going to be much, much higher. The leaf looks good. The dry leaf smells good. It's such a potent smell when you have such a large amount of leaf. But if you just bring your nose gently by, it's like driving through or walking through a meadow. Really, really grassy, lots of fresh flowers, no woody notes, nothing dark at all, really bright. But there's also a fruitiness to it. Elderberry? No, it's not elderberry, it's sweeter than that, like blueberries, like if you crushed some blueberries, that very bright fruity smell to it. Beautiful. Okay, but we need to taste. So this is 4 grams, and this is 170 ml pot in here. And I'm going to be brewing at about 80 degrees, which is about 170 Fahrenheit. So you can go kind of between 75 and 80 degrees is what I would recommend. So about 170 to 175, something like that. That's a good temperature. I'm going to give it the briefest of rinses just to get some of the fragrance to come out. Let's give it a whiff. Very different smell with the wet leaf compared to, I'll just put this down here. Very different smell. Now you're picking up the vegetal notes in the leaf. I'm getting asparagus. Asparagus and spinach, and a slight creaminess to it as well. So here we go. Water goes in. Now I'm going to brew this a little bit longer than I usually brew. The reason for this is because it's a white tea cultivar, and it's also picked very early. It hasn't had much time to develop polyphenols, which have those bitter notes. It also doesn't have much time to develop chlorophyll. And so we can afford to brew this a little bit harder to extract more of it and get a richer body. And this tea is very well known to be very high in the amino acids, in the theanines, which is why it has those vegetal, slightly savory notes. And that theanine is really good for your alpha brainwave activity, for mood enhancement. So I want to ramp up those psychoactive effects a little bit. Beautiful, if you can see here. It has a kind of silver needle effect in that it starts to bounce up and down vertically. Okay, I think that that's about 30 seconds or so. So I'm going to pour this off. I'm really excited to try this. I hope that he sent the same tea as the sample. There's always that risk that you do a deal over a sample. Even though I managed to get an amazing deal here, the temptation, I guess, would be that the farmer would see if he could give me a slightly lower quality Anji Bai Cha. I hope that's not the case. It's all looking good. The leaf starts to go a very pale color when you brew it. You start to see the fact that this comes from very early spring-picked white tea varietals. We'll try and get a picture of the wet leaf in a little bit. Smell is, again, very vegetal and has that kind of asparagus, very bright green springtime asparagus. The color, I'll just show you the color if I can, is a beautiful pale lemon yellow color. I don't know if you can pick it up. Maybe we'll see if we can give you a slight shot with the white cup here. Not really helping, but you can see it's a very pale, beautiful pale lime and lemon colored liquor. Okay, taste time. All good. Yes, this is the tea. So, how can I explain it? The body is relatively thick. It has a savory note to it. It has those umami flavors to it. So you're getting the slight spinachy, slight asparagus flavor. But that savory note does transform. It coats your mouth with these minerals, these amino acids, and it does transform. It lets go of the savory and becomes a sweetness, that kind of umami, savory to sweetness. But there's also a creaminess to this and a nuttiness. Now, no woodiness, and I really want to make that point, because what I found is when you get second grade or lower grade Anji Bai Cha, it tends to have a little bit of this woodiness to it, this wet wood aroma and taste to it. And that's something that you don't want. You want Anji Bai Cha to be the epitome of brightness and springtime, the epitome of this kind of light, airy taste with this lovely, thick, umami body. And this has all of that. So the nuttiness is there, but it's not a nut that, it's not like an almond or a hazelnut. It's more like a seed, like a pine nut maybe, or, no, it has more of a greenness to it. Oh yes, like a pumpkin seed. You know those green pumpkin seeds? It has that kind of taste to it. So a green nuttiness, pumpkin seeds. And there is a fruitiness still to it. So the smell that was coming through on the nose of the dry leaf, that blueberry, it's not blueberry, but it's fresher than that. Star fruit. So I don't know if any of you have had star fruit before, but if you have, you'll know what I mean. It's a very light, fresh taste, very watery, fresh fruit. And it has that slight star fruit quality to it. So asparagus, spinach, a slight creaminess, a nuttiness of these pumpkin seeds, and a light, slightly citrusy, but not citrus fruit, light, fresh, like an Asian pear or star fruit. It's beautiful. It's really, really nice. Now, I recommend brewing at, as I said, 75 to 80 degrees, which is about 167 to about 175 degrees Fahrenheit. But one of the tests that I found to really test whether or not you've got good quality Anji Bai Cha is Brew It Hotter. Go for it, test it out. I recommend you brew at 80 degrees because that's when you're going to bring the most out of it. But if you brew this, I'm going to hit this with boiling water now, okay, which is kind of sacrilegious. But if you go onto a lot of websites of a lot of tea sellers, they'll tell you never to do this. Always brew at cool temperature. And I agree in terms of taste. But my feeling is that you start to reveal the true level of grade if you hit it at 100 degrees or very, very hot. So this is just to test it out, and this is kind of sacrilegious. I feel a bit bad because I've only done one infusion of this, but I'm doing this for you guys because I'm going to brew this harder and hotter. And if this is the real high-grade Anji Bai Cha, because it's been picked so early, because it hasn't had a chance for those polyphenols to develop, it won't go bitter and it won't go astringent. So I'm going to pour this one out, and that's boiling water brewed again at a longer time than I would normally brew with such hot water. Let's see how it stands up. I expected it's going to have lost some of the freshness and aromatics, but I also hope that it's not going to go too astringent and bitter. Right. Comparison time. This is the 100-degree water. This is the 75 to 80-degree water. And you can see the color is almost identical. That's exactly what I wanted to see. Taste test time. You can't overbrew really, really good Anji Bai Cha. It's just not possible. So all of these websites that are warning, don't hit it with too hot water, I think that I agree it tastes better at cooler water, but this is a great way to test the quality because honestly, this is still delicious. What happens when you have hotter water? You lose some of the brightness. I'm getting more of the minerality. It's more mineral tasting. It's slightly more nutty. It's slightly less of the bright notes. I'm still getting the vegetal umami notes. So the savory notes are there, but the star fruits and the slight kind of floral notes of the cooler brew is not there. And it's definitely more mineral content, but no bitterness, very little astringency. And that goes to show that this was early picked from the right varietal, a very, very light colored tea. And the leaves are so gorgeous and white and pale. I'll tell you what, I'll bring the camera around and we'll do a shot. And you can look at this lovely pale leaf with the green veins that shows that it was picked from the right varietal, the white tea varietal, and was picked early enough that these leaves hadn't had enough time to develop much chlorophyll. And if you have Anji Bai Cha at home, try this out. Hit it with 100 degrees Celsius or 212 Fahrenheit water. Brew it hard and check it out and see if the taste starts to go quite woody and become quite astringent, then you know that it was probably picked a bit later and wasn't top quality Anji Bai Cha. But I'm happy because I know the sample I taste is the same as what I'm tasting here, so I can relax and I can enjoy this tea. I'm going to keep infusing, and because of the level of theanine in this, I know this is going to put me in the best mood for the whole day. That's it, tea heads. If you made it to the end of this video, then please give the video the thumbs up. Check out our YouTube playlists and let us know if there are any videos that you'd like us to make. If you're ever in London, then come visit us in Camden to say hi and taste our wares. If you have any questions or comments, then please fire them over. Other than that, I'm Don May from Mayleaf. Thank you for being a part of the revelation of true tea. Stay away from the tea bags, keep drinking the good stuff, and spread the word, because nobody deserves bad tea. Bye.